Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my old friend, Rutanya Alda, and we will be discussing that classic movie she did in 1981 that so many people love now, but everybody hated back then, Mommie Dearest, the classic story about how abusive Joan Crawford was to her children. And I will be talking about that movie with her today. She wrote a book about it a couple of years ago, and I'm sure she can fill me in on some of the stuff she wrote in the book about it and the stuff that she experienced while making it. And I'm pretty excited about it. It'll be great to talk to Rutanya again, third time. And I love talking to Rutanya. She's so easy to talk to and stuff. And I also want to announce this weekend I'll be at the very first ever Fandemic Comic Con in Sacramento, California. It's going to be a great show. It's going to include people like Robert Englund, Scott Wilson, John Schneider, Michael Rooker, Bruce Campbell, and Holly Marie Combs, and many, many others. It's going to be a totally radical Comic-Con, and I will be covering it as press. And I'm so excited. First Comic-Con ever, and they gave me a shot to cover it. And it's going to be so cool. I'm pretty excited. So, yeah, here's my new interview with Rutanya Alda.
Hello.
Hey, Rutanya, welcome back.
Hi, Tommy. Thank you. Very sweet of you.
Absolutely.
How are you? How's everything?
Oh, I am great. I've been trying to decide all week what color I'm going to paint my toenails for this weekend.
Well, good for you. I've given up on mine. I just say, okay, forget it. Unless there's a special occasion, I'm just not doing it. But, everybody has their own likes and loves, and, each to his own. I don't know if that was a joke, or I don't know if you're really painting your toenails, but it's okay with me.
Oh, it's true. I'm
Okay, that's even better. I like it when it's true.
I'm doing this Comic-Con this weekend as press, and it's the very first one ever up in Sacramento, and I'm pretty excited about it. And
that's great. I'm happy for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just want to look my best, that's all.
Absolutely. Go for it. Whatever makes you feel the best, just do it, go out with it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going with purple. I've been procrastinating that color.
Well, purple is a royal color.
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
Purple is a very rich color. But, there's a lot of other colors that it just depends. Some people I think we're all drawn to certain colors that make us feel good.
Mm-hmm.
We paint our rooms in certain colors, and we surround ourselves with what we wear with certain colors. So I think everybody's different that way. And who knows why we are drawn to these things, but we are. And that's great. That's just fine with me.
Yep, it makes us unique. I have to agree.
It does. And, it would be kind of boring if we were all into the same things all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I learn from other people, too. It's fun, right? Oh,
Yeah.
why are you doing that? That's interesting. I've never thought of that, all these kind of questions that you go, okay, oh, wow, that's just a new thought here.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, I've been a huge fan of Mommie Dearest since I was about 13 years old.
Wow.
Before I saw the movie, I had seen a parody of it on Saturday Night Live. Right after the book came out, they did this parody where Jane Curtin played Joan Crawford and Gilda Radner played Christina, and she's like hitting her and choking her during a Christmas party that they're having with Clark Gable, Cary Grant, and Katharine Hepburn. It was a very funny sketch.
Oh, they were wonderful. Those two actresses were just, I think that was sort of when those people were on Saturday Night that was the funniest time for me. They were just amazing, and then the writing and the actors were just terrific.
Yeah, they were the best. It was a really funny sketch, and that was my.
I never saw it, which I'm surprised I didn't. But I don't see everything, of course. So, but no, I love both those actresses, and I love the people that were on at that time. I thought truly genius comedians, and very, very funny.
Oh, they were very irreverent and just.
Oh yeah.
just very talented people,
Very talented.
And yeah, that sketch is really funny. It's not one of those ones that comes up in like the best sketches ever, but it's a hidden gem, I have to say.
Well, I'll try to find it online now that you mention it, because you're the first person that's told me about it. So, see, you get information. Oh yeah, okay, I'll check this out. Thank you for actually sharing that with me.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's very funny. You'll laugh out loud. But how did you get the role of Carol Ann?
Well, I actually, my agent, excuse me, got something in my throat. There's a lot of grass pollen floating around in New York. My agent submitted me to Frank Perry. Well, actually, you know how I got it? I really found out later. Frank Yablons, who was the producer, I had worked with him on the early stages of his career when he was the executive at a little company called Sigma 3. And Sigma 3 released the early Brian De Palma films, which I did with Robert De Niro, and called Greetings and Hi Mom, which are really funny too. They were really irrelevant and funny and wonderful. And I always thought Brian De Palma would go into doing comedy, because those two films are like black comedy and very, they're still funny because they just played them downtown at the Metrograph, and they're still relevant today after all these years. So anyway, Frank Yablons was the executive at Sigma 3, and I went up there to meet him. He was in New York at the time, and I asked him for a clip of Hi Mom and Mommie Dearest, and he made me swear that I would never, let anybody have it except me. And I said, no, I want it personally. So he gave me both clips, and that's how we met. And then years later, of course, Frank's career really went up. He became the president of Paramount, became a major producer, and he told me when I was on the set, because the way I got it, my agent sent me to Frank Perry, but the way Frank told me afterwards, Frank Yablons told me, is that, I always loved you and your work, and I recommended you to Frank Perry. So I went up to meet Frank Perry in his apartment on Park Avenue. It was a very, very cold night. And so the great directors of that time, Eli Kazan, Frank Perry, Brian De Palma, and all those people, they never auditioned you. They just talked to you. They were big, and Michael Cimino too. I think it kind of ended with Michael Cimino, because now you don't meet the directors anymore. They see you through some little video thing.
Yeah.
But at that time, you went and you met with the director. I met with Frank Perry, had a wonderful conversation with him, and for about half an hour or 45 minutes, and we talked about a lot of things. We talked about the old movie stars and Joan Crawford and all that stuff. And so by talking with him, he just decided that I think somewhere along the way, of course, with Frank Yablons' recommendation, that I was perfect for the part. But that was a wonderful era when the directors actually got to know you before they got to know you. This doesn't happen anymore. You don't meet the directors anymore. Very, very rare. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but you go in and you either do a self-video, self-tape, or you go in to the casting office and they do your self-tape and there's nobody else there. So it's a different world. It's not as personal as it was. But that time was very personal, and also you got the sense, not only did he get the sense of me, but I got the sense of him, and I really liked him. I knew I would like working with him. So when he called me right around Christmas and offered me the part, I was very excited, of course.
Nice. Yeah, I got interviewed for a documentary last fall. I didn't get to meet the director, but we have talked in email, and I was photographed by the producer of the movie.
Well, at least you talked to him on email. I haven't talked to
Yeah.
a director on email or seen them in years. You just go up and you audition and you go like, okay, am I? I'm like, I don't know. It's a different world. What can I say? Things change, and that's the way it is, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I kind of just have to accept the change and go with it, and realize that it's rare to meet any director today. From an actor's point of view, from my point of view, anyway.
Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't seen Hi Mom, but I've heard about it over the years as being one of Robert De Niro's first movies.
Greetings was first, and then My Mom was second. No, it really established him, and I think it really gave a boost to his career because then Marty Scorsese got aware of it because at that time Brian and Marty and all those people were starting at the same time, and I saw the films and got him for that early movie that Marty did. I forget the name of it.
Oh yeah,
that was very became a bit of a hit, and then that was a takeoff for his career.
yeah. Who's Knocking at Your Door was Marty's first movie.
Yeah, okay, that wasn't the film that Bobby was in. Bobby was in it was about the Italians in Little Italy, and Harvey Keitel was in it too. Was it Mean Streets?
Yeah, Mean Streets.
Mean Streets. I couldn't remember the name of it, but that was the kickoff. Really a big, from Greetings, Hi Mom to Mean Streets.
Wow. Was Carol Ann really Joan Crawford's housekeeper in real life?
Well, she was a combination of a couple of, like 3 or 4 people. It was really based on the longest one that worked for her was Betty Barker. Betty Barker worked for her about 25 years. Mm-hmm. And I met Betty Barker after the film, and she was very loyal to Joan. No absolutely negative thing came out of her mouth, and very ladylike and very proper. And that's the one. The other people that worked for her were short-time people. I mean, a couple of years here, a couple of years there. And the one that worked in New York was a German lady, contrary to what was portrayed on the Jessica Lange, Susan Sarandon series. She was portrayed as a mamacita, like a Spanish person, but she was really a German person. I saw a picture of her. She was like 55, 60 years old, a heavy set, just a nice-looking older woman that worked for her in New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in the early 80s, when they made all these biopics about movie stars from the golden age of Hollywood, they always had like one character in the movie that held the movie together that the public never knew about, and the critics would just harshly criticize the movie as inaccurate because of that one character. And a good example of that is Sam Shepard when he was in the Francis Farmer movie that Jessica Lange made.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't let you finish your thought.
Yeah, oh no, that's all I was going to say about that.
Oh, okay. Well, unless you're doing a miniseries, which they did on with Jessica Lange and Susan Sarandon, you just can't, there's only so much you can get into a 2-hour movie. I mean, it just, you can't do, I think miniseries are great, and I think they used to have these movies of the week, which ran like 4 parts during the week. They were like 8-hour, 10-hour shows, which they did at the time of books and things. And I think that's the way to really do an in-depth thing, if you want to do a depth thing of a person, because there's so much to a person's life. But I think considering everything, they couldn't put that many people in. It would just go on and on. But now that these many things are coming back, they're doing, I think it's easier to do somebody's life. Although Olivia de Havilland was very upset about how she was portrayed in that miniseries. She still has a suit against them, so God bless her. She's like 101.
Yeah.
She's suing them. Oh my God, she's pretty amazing. I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but she just didn't like the way they portrayed her. So there you go. You know, you can't please everybody.
Yeah, certainly not. Did you like Joan Crawford's movies when you were growing up?
You know, I did. I actually met Joan Crawford when she was doing Johnny Guitar.
Oh.
I mean, met her, I don't know. I mean, I have my little brownie box camera with me. I have a picture of that in my book, the Mommie Dearest Diary. I have a picture of her taken on location around Sedona, Arizona, because my family and I lived in Flagstaff. We'd go to Sedona on every other weekend because it was like a little hick one horse town. My friend had a little horse ranch and I'd go horse riding, but he would also rent out he had lots like 40,000 acres or something like that, and he would rent out his space. He had little western towns. He would rent out his space to movie companies at that time, and quite a few of the 50s westerns were shot on his ranch in Sedona, around Sedona. So he said they're coming down, and Joan Crawford is going to be there. And I had just really come to America, so I didn't speak English very well. I was around 12. But I had, as I said, she's a movie star, so I had my brownie box camera, and I took a couple of pictures of her. But I was too shy to go up and actually talk to her. And I don't know that she would have wanted it because they were setting up a shot, so it was in between the setup, you know. So I was probably wise not to go up and talk to her because, you know, actors are it's very sensitive time. If you're in between shots, you want to concentrate. You don't want to have a conversation, even though, and that sometimes come across as mean. But if you're working, it's really better not to. I've learned better not to talk to people and talk to them after if you can, or when they're not working. And I think they're more accommodating. But I remember that picture is in my book of her. She's wearing her black outfit, and I don't remember. I think she has a nun on. I'm not sure. But that was and then I met her again many years later when I was doing, in the early stages of my career, I did the photo doubling for Mia Farrow in Rosemary's Baby, which Roland Polanski directed. So we were shooting down in the theater, a little theater down the village, and Mia was late for some reason. She usually wasn't. She was usually on time, but had something to do with traffic or whatever. And so Roman couldn't wait. He waited an hour or two, and he said, I can't wait anymore. I've got to get the shot, otherwise it's over. So he put me in a little white coat, which I had done a lot of the far shots and the opening shot of Rosemary's Baby when myself and the other photo double for John Cassavetes are walking down the 72nd Street to the Dakota. That's us, actually. That's us instead of Mia. So he put me in that white coat again and said, I'll shoot you from behind going into the theater. And so Joan Crawford and Van Johnson, who were both friends of the producer, why am I forgetting his name? Anyway, the producer produced it, and the older man had worked with Joan before in many of her films. So they were going to be like guest stars, like a guest appearance. And so Van Johnson was outside, but Joan was inside the theater. So Roman said, let's just work the shot and we'll shoot it. So while they're setting up, I go in the theater where Roman said, you're going to wind up here, this is your position. And Joan Crawford was in the little lobby, and she came up to me and she said, hello, my name is Joan Crawford. And I said, oh, I know. I don't know. She was very gracious, very nice. We just had simple conversation. But I always thought to this day she probably thought I was Mia Farrow. That's because why would she go up to a photo double and say, hello, I'm Joan Crawford? I don't know. But that's the time I did shake her hand and met her. And, so those are my two experiences with the real Joan Crawford.
Well, at least she didn't ask you about Frank Sinatra.
No, she just introduced herself and said, well, it's lovely to meet you, and, I'm happy to be here, things like that. but when she said hello, she stretched out her gloved hand. She was in a kind of a little tiger outfit, like little spots on her dress, little spots on her hand, and these white gloves. And I thought, oh, wow. But, you know, she had a reputation of being gracious to people outside of when she was shooting, but she was always concerned about her fans. Her fans were her big thing.
Yeah, she responded to every fan letter she got and all that.
Yeah. Betty Barker had a lot to do with that because she would just set it up for her, the letter and everything. She would have everything in order so that Joan would sign the 8x10s, and Betty would have her sign a lot of 8x10s so that Betty got the letter. She would just answer it or send the autograph photo. They really were. I mean, it was like a little factory. They were all set up to do all that stuff. Yeah, she always answered. Made sure that the person got a picture they wanted and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow, you got to be
Try doing that today, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It goes into the round file somewhere.
I know, nobody's got time today.
Yeah, it's too bad. It was very gracious. It was another world. It was a world of courtesy, and then people they didn't take advantage of their fans. They didn't alienate their fans, and they were gracious. There was a sort of grace about them that I think is just another age that doesn't exist today.
Yeah, that's great though. You got to be on the set of Johnny Guitar because that's one of the few classics she did. She's one of those movie stars who didn't get to do a whole lot of classics, because her reputation that Christina wrote about her, has made her more famous. But at least you got to be on the set of that movie because that is a classic.
No, it was thrilling. I actually got a picture of I didn't know who he was at the time, but Scott Brady. I had my little brownie box camera. I took some pictures of people around there. One of them I looked at. I didn't know who he was at the time, but it was Scott Brady. So all those wonderful actors from that era, it's just nice to know that now. No, this is who this was.
Now, I've read all the stories, of course, about Faye Dunaway being this crazy diva and what have you. But do you think by the time she was making this movie, she had lost interest in being an actress and cared more about being a movie star?
Well, that's my opinion. I think she was kind of at the height of her career. She had been for a long time, and she became a movie star, and that was very important to her. And I think that was what she focused on. Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe though that she really was haunted by Joan Crawford, and it lasted a long time, even after the movie, because after she did this movie, she played so many similar roles. Like she did the remake of The Wicked Lady, and she played the villainess in Supergirl, which was the first movie I ever saw her in, and before that, she played so many different types of roles. She was the sexy femme fatale or the strong girl Friday or something. And there really is a mythology surrounding this movie and this character,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing how it has become the biggest cult film out there. I mean, it's kind of amazing. I don't think anybody predicted that at all.
Yeah. What was it like working with Diana Scarwood?
Diana is a very sweet woman. She was, I think she was really intimidated by Faye and had a hard time because Faye was not, what can I say? Faye was really tough with her and not a person that she could go and talk with, and she's very upset. Like I wrote in my book again, the Mommie Dearest diary, a couple of times. One time especially, I think it was like 2:00 in the morning when we wrapped, and we were in the parking lot of the Paramount Studios, and she burst out crying that she didn't know what to do, and she was young.
Yeah.
When you're young, you're sort of more vulnerable, I think, because you haven't had the experience working with somebody who's tough.
Mm-hmm.
So she was crying, and so we talked a little bit about what had happened, and so but she's a very sweet woman. She moved back to Georgia, Atlanta. I think she was from Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and she's married now and has a couple of. I mean, she's married, but she's a grandmother now. She had a couple of kids, and she's a grandmother now. She looks gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I saw a recent picture of her online. She looks really, really gorgeous.
Yeah, I reached out to her. I never heard back.
I think that her. I mean, I don't know for sure, but my thinking is that she just is not that much into the business anymore. She's got a whole other life, and she doesn't want to deal with the business side of it anymore. I mean, I think she did some wonderful things, and I think that she's happy now. So, because it's when you're happy, you have a family and relationships, and you don't want to pursue that. I mean, when you're in Atlanta, you're living in Atlanta, you're not living in Los Angeles. So you've got a different life. And she had a very strong, I remember she had a very strong family connection, and very supportive parents and siblings and other family members. So, and she was really missing that and missing them. So she talked about moving back. She did.
That's great. The little girl, Mara Hobel, I heard that her hair was really black.
Yeah. Well, Vivian Walker, the wonderful hair person, complained that she had to bleach her hair. She said, "Why didn't they hire a blonde?" So, because she had to keep bleaching that hair on the roots every week or two.
Yeah. Steve Forrest, good to work with?
He was just a doll. What a sweetheart. I mean, those actors from that generation of films, they're just great people, and just gracious and fun, and just really wonderful people.
Yep, and he's Dana Andrews' brother.
I'm sorry?
He's Dana
Andrews. Yes,
yeah.
I just saw him on one of those film noir movies with Gene Tierney.
Yeah.
And forgot the name of it, but he's great. I mean, these are all really wonderful actors. And now that I knew he was Steve Forrest's brother, because I didn't. Now that I knew, I see a slight similarity in their features.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he was a great guy too. I mean, Steve was such a great guy. I just loved him.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good sense of humor.
Yeah. He was in a couple John Landis comedy movies, and he was really funny in them.
Yeah, he was naturally. He just was one of these people that try to make things light and always tell a joke or two, and he just made things fun. He was a fun guy to be around.
Oh, that's good. And also, Alexander Berkeley played Christopher Crawford. He always plays like really crazy bad guys.
This is the early stage of his career. This is, I think, one of his early films, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken, but I think this is early. And I really, I've never seen the other movies he's been in, but I understand he was in quite a few horror films.
Yeah. Lots of horror movies, lots of action movies where he usually plays the bad guy.
Yeah.
I've only seen him in 2 movies where he's a good guy, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any personal supernatural experiences making the movie like Faye Dunaway had?
I don't know if she had any supernatural. I mean, I think this is a lot of it is PR. I didn't see her have any supernatural experience. No, I did go into Grauman's, and I did put my hand into Joan Crawford's hand, and it kind of tingled. But who knows? Maybe that was my imagination of it tingling. Who knows? No, I didn't have anything like that. I was just too focused on doing the character, basically.
Yeah, well, she was haunted by Joan Crawford.
I don't know if she. I mean, I know the press came out saying that, but I never heard her talking about that.
Well, if it did happen, it would be valid for the fact that you met her a couple times, because it's almost as if you two are the chosen ones to be in the movie.
It just, I think a lot of it is actually just the roles you pick. I mean, as a star,
Mm-hmm.
this was a star vehicle for Faye. There's no doubt about it. And I think she was looking for star vehicles for herself. I think I know she did, because, like I said, I've read this in my book again.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to see her in the Broadway play about a year afterwards that she opened it, she did say that she expected to be nominated for the Best Actress, but she didn't think she'd win because of the film would be controversial. And I think she was not prepared for the way the film went into the cult status rather than into the serious drama that she thought it would go into, and we all kind of did,
Mm-hmm.
But he took a different turn, and I think Faye was very upset about that.
Yeah. I love the way they did your hair in the movie. You look like you were in the 40s.
Oh, thanks. Well, Vivian Walker was such a great hair person. She worked with Joan on a number of films, and she worked with Vivian Lee and all these, Merle Oberon, all these major stars. She was just a great woman. She came out of retirement to do this film.
It was probably her last one, right?
I think she did one or two more after that, and then she officially did retire.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wonderful woman. Great woman.
Oh, that's good. All the abuse that Joan Crawford did with the coat hangers. I was analyzing this recently because it's so striking and so profound. Back in those days, women couldn't have abortions. They had to use coat hangers.
Yeah.
Do you think that the abuse with the coat hangers kind of serves as a metaphor to her after she lost her mental capability, that she wished that maybe Christina's birth mother aborted her?
I have no idea. I think it's just that generational thing. Look, Joan Crawford grew up poor as a mouse, had to work and clean other girls' bathrooms when she got the scholarship thing. So, and she just really had a tough life. And I think she went on her own when she was 16. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was a different era. I mean, my mother whipped me with a belt, so I had all kinds of just swelling in my back and my legs and my buttocks. It somehow was okay at that time. It was like, so instead of a belt, she used a wire hanger. I think it's just a generational thing where things that are not accepted now were accepted then. That was how you set the child straight, so to speak. That was the discipline. And, of course, now today we're aghast that anybody would do that. But, it was the 30s, it was the 40s. That's how kids were disciplined by many families, not everyone, of course. And when all those brutal belt beatings I took from my mother, I mean, she didn't think there was anything wrong with it. And you go like, oh, my God. But we can't judge those times by these times. These standards have changed, and what we do now is so different. So we have to take into consideration the era, the times that this was lived, and I think it's just the way kids were disciplined. I don't know. I mean, of course, none of it's acceptable today.
No. I have an uncle who went to elementary school in the 50s, and one of the punishments he had to endure, he had to sit underneath a teacher's desk with the teacher sitting there.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
And we had a principal that would go around, if you misbehaved, he'd whack you with his paddle, whack you hard.
Yeah.
So the kids didn't misbehave. It was like, everybody was on, okay, can't do this. Mr. Redmond is walking around with his paddle. Of course, today that wouldn't fly.
No. Yeah, my teachers had to endure the paddle also.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you know if Christina Crawford was satisfied with the movie?
No, she hated the movie.
Oh.
Yeah, she hated the movie because she thought, only because it wasn't her book. Her book is told from a child's point of view, and she felt that they reversed it and told it from Joan's point of view, and that it wasn't her story the way she had written it. And she's right. When you read the book, it's different, and it's a wonderful book, but it's told from that child's point of view. Yeah. So it's a different take.
Yeah. Did you ever meet her?
Oh, yeah. She's a wonderful woman. Very smart, very articulate, and she's really terrific.
Yeah. I saw her on some interview show recently. She still looks the same. She hasn't aged much.
I think she keeps herself in good shape. Yeah, she's in her 70s. And, I mean, sooner or later, there's only so much we could do. You know, people have to accept that people get older. We don't all stay, we don't all stay that age forever. I mean, I think there's a big thing of ageism, especially for women in America in the industry. I think if men are allowed to age, but God forbid that a woman ages and has wrinkles and has gained weight, and people tend to make remarks about that, and I think it's very unfair. I think, for those women like me who don't want to have a facelift, who don't want to have stretch skin or those trout lips, we should just be allowed to age, because nobody stays young forever. God has blessed you that you've lived to your old age, and I look at these distorted faces and I cringe. I don't want to look like that. I just want to look like me as good as I can in my 70s. But I don't want to have so many older actresses put themselves under the knife, and because they're trying to maintain an image of what they were, and I think it's very, very sad. I'm very sad about it. I'm sad that our society is in that sense it's much harder on women than it is on men, older women. I think it's much more demanding. Somehow we have to be, I don't know, this or that, and people should be allowed. God bless Olivia Havilland. Olivia D. Havilland. She's like at 101 now.
Yeah.
She looks great for 101. I mean, what can you expect? She's not going to be 30. But I think I look at her and I think, darn it, she looks good. And God bless her that she's lived to 101 and has this history of her being in movies and stuff. And so, I mean, I wish we would grow. I think it's much more acceptable in Europe. They let their stars age. Jean Moreau aged, and they wouldn't expect her to be, 45 or 50 forever. I think she was around 80 when she passed. So I think the Europeans, in that sense, have more, it's more acceptable to be older. And I think in this country, we're still into the youth craze. I mean, you look at TV and all these, I don't really have TV, but I go in other people's houses and I watch some of the shows. And everybody's like 20, 25. Mm-hmm. There's no mothers, there's no fathers, there's no aunts, there's no grandparents. It's like, this is a generation of 20-something people, and that gives a false sense to people that you have to be 25 forever. No, you don't. But the fact that we've eliminated so much of parents and grandparents, and it's kind of the Walton theme, when there were so many generations and they had so many stories, and the generations had a lot to say about. But today we don't have that, and I think it's sad. I mean, I think that and they all look alike on TV. All the 25-year-olds, they all look like me in a show. Nobody, I don't want to say what is going on at this time. And I think a lot of it is sad because we're not including. I think our society is much harder in this industry. This industry is much harder on older women.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that. I see it, and rather than older men.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point now where if you're older in the industry and you're working, it's because you have longevity and success. And a good example of that is that movie that just came out, The Book Club.
Oh yes. I saw that actually.
Yeah, I saw it too on my birthday. I was laughing hysterically at it.
Yeah, there's some funny things in it. Really funny.
Yeah, you got Mary Steenburgen and Diane Keaton in it, and Jane Fonda and Candice Bergen, and like they all have longevity. That's why they got to do
and
this
they're all
movie.
because they have had longevity in their career, so it was acceptable. And I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. That was very entertaining. But
Yeah.
notice all the guys were younger than the women in that case. I
Yeah.
mean, Andy Garcia, very handsome guy, and who was the other one that was in Miami Vice?
Oh, Don Johnson.
Don Johnson, very handsome again. And but they're at least 10, 15 years younger than the women. I thought, okay, well, that works. It's all right. I thought I was just entertained. And I'm like you. I had some really good belly laughs in that movie.
Yeah, my mom did too. She loved it. I was watching this little mini documentary about Mommie Dearest last night from 2006, and you were interviewed in it, and you were wearing this blue blazer with glitter in the front of it.
I still have it.
Yeah, and your hair was blonde, and you were absolutely gorgeous during it. And
Laurent Bouzou, who shot it, he shoots all the behind the scenes stuff. His husband is the makeup man, and he did my makeup and my hair. I said, boy, that was a wonderful thing he did, because a lot of times you go and do the stuff, they don't want to splurge on a hair and makeup person, so you just do the best you can. But when you have a great makeup person, Marcus is his name, and a great makeup and hair person, and all of a sudden you do look gorgeous, and it's too bad that some of the people that interview that they don't splurge for that. Like Laurent splurged. Well, his husband is a makeup person, but I'm sure he was not doing it for free. But it was really appreciated. I thought I came in looking the best I could, and he just made me look 100% better.
well, it was one of the most elegant times I've ever seen you, I have to say.
Yeah. No, it helps when you have a professional person going to make you look good. It really helps. It really helps a lot.
I really think if the movie had been better received at the time, both you and Faye would have gotten Academy Award nominations.
I'm sorry, both Faye and I would have what?
That would have gotten Academy Award nominations.
Yeah, I think that's true because I've got a call coming in, so I won't answer to hear the beep. Just an incoming call. If Frank Yablon, the producer, said I'm going to put you in for an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, and I'm sure he would have for Faye also, but it just didn't happen because it wasn't that well received at the beginning at all. And that's why it's such a shock. It's gone on to be this enduring film, this cult film that goes through. It's like that's why it's really a surprising turn.
Yeah, you must be just astounded at the cultural impact the movie's had since then.
Oh yeah, I mean I am. I'm still astounded. They just had a Mommie Dearest event down in the village with Hedda Lettuce, and I usually do her show. I guessed on her show, but I wasn't available. I had another conflict. But she does this once a year, and then fills the house, fills the theater. People just show up. It's just amazing. It's just amazing to me. Still.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you're doing okay otherwise?
Yeah, I keep busy. I belong to a theater group, and I've written I have finished my one-person story show, one person storytelling show, and so I hope to do it next year somewhere. So that's my thing. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Let's see who this is. Hold on. Hello. Can you call me back in about 10 minutes because I'm on long distance right now. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I don't know who that was.
It's okay.
They're calling on my private line again. Okay, so where were we?
Oh, you're doing a one-woman show.
Oh, the one-woman show. Yeah, I mean, I've worked on this piece for many years, and it's a great story, and I'm telling it, of course, and so I hope to do it next year. So I always keep busy. I mean, I write, or I'm with my theater group, and I take classes still with people. I mean, I'm not gonna get the dirt under my legs here, my dust rather. I mean, I think it's good to be busy. Either with my cases, I love acting. I love doing it. Even if it's for, like I just did a whole thing a couple of weeks ago, whole thing that they filmed. It'll never be shown. But the guy was trying out material. It was so much fun to do it. I enjoyed it, and so for me, it's a joy to do this stuff. I mean, I think at some point in your life, if you retire, that try to do things that you love that you couldn't do before. My advice to people is do something that you really enjoy in your life, because it brings you a sense of well-being. And as hard as it is in this industry, it's very hard. I'm not going to say, just go be an actor. No, don't be an actor unless it's in your blood, so to speak, because it's too hard a profession. But once you are committed to it, I think it's wonderful. But there's a lot of people outside the industry that I know. I know a lot of people that are not in the industry around my neighborhood and stuff, and they're just doing things that they simply enjoy, like dog walking and going out to walks in nature, or they get together and they like a book club and they discuss books and stuff. So I think I encourage people to be involved in something that they enjoy. And even if it's a small thing like getting a buddy, going on a buddy walk, which I know one woman does. She goes on a buddy walk like 3 or 4 times a week, and she meets new people, and she loves it. So, life is meant to be lived, and we can live it the best way we can. And you don't have to be an actor or a movie star to enjoy your life, believe me. People sometimes, I think, enjoy their lives more when they don't have to be a movie star, because I think there's a lot of pressure on people.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I mean, while I'm collecting disability, recovering from my accident, that's a couple years old now. I'm doing my stand-up comedy when I can. I do this podcast. I audition for stuff, movies and everything. And
well, you're involved in life. You're involved in things. That's all I can say is to people: just stay involved in life. Life is so short, really, in the long run. I look back in my 70s, and I think, boy, it's been quick. You went by fast. So, it goes by fast, and the thing to do, I think, is just to do what interests you, go for it, do your best. Don't measure yourself by other people's values or what they think. When we try to measure up to other people's values and what we should or shouldn't be, it's a lost cause. So just check yourself, like you're doing your comedy, you're going out for interviews and stuff. That's it. That's a lot. You've committed yourself to life. Mm-hmm. And so, that's terrific. Good for you. I support you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I know you support me. I mean, you've talked to me 3 times already.
We never run out of gab, do we?
No. And your health is good?
okay. I'm doing fine. I wake up every morning and I say, thank you, God. I'm still here. And so I'm grateful. I think living my life in gratitude has helped me a lot.
Oh, that's great. 'Cause I want you around another 20 years to entertain us.
That would be fun.
Yeah, to entertain us, and do these interviews and stuff. That would be great.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I have a really good joke for you.
Okay.
This Catholic boy goes to confession, and he says to the priest, "Father, I'm so embarrassed to tell you this, but I masturbate 5 times a day, and I'm so embarrassed. It goes against everything I've learned in Sunday school." And the priest says, "I forgive you, son. Recite 5 Hail Marys and put some ice on that arm."
That's wonderful. I love it.
You like that?
Good for you. Keep those jokes coming, Tommy. Keep them coming, babe.
Yep. Well, Rutanya, thank you so much. It's a pleasure as always.
Oh, thank you too, Tommy, and God bless you, and just live your life and enjoy every moment of it, even the ups, the downs, because we'll have ups and downs. There's no way around it. So just enjoy it all, and because it all changes, believe me. We go through the change, and one day we'll feel bad, and then, before you know it, you feel great again, and so it's like the surf. We ride the waves.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to make a trip to New York eventually to see you and stuff.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I've never been to New York, and I have a friend who's been there the last couple of years. He liked it in the beginning. Now he kind of wants to come back to California, but
I get it. I really do, because it's become so congested and so expensive that it's become a corporate town instead of used to be an artistic town with lots of arts and people and small theaters and artists, and now they've all been driven out by, a lot of them the artists have certainly been driven out either to Brooklyn, which is becoming expensive, or they're going up the Hudson River, up the Hudson Valley, but that's becoming expensive. It's just the arts, which was New York was centered around for so long, it's become so commercial in so many ways. It's just a different world, and I can understand why. He's had his New York experience, and sometimes you just want a little bit of space.
Yeah.
It's tough living in New York because there's no space. You pay very expensive rents for very little tiny spaces, and sometimes you say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So I get it. I really get it. So, but at least he had experience.
Yeah.
There's no regrets.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer he'll stay, but yeah, he's there, and he's in Manhattan, and he said he has a nice apartment and everything.
They're there, but you know what? After a while, there's a lot of young people that come in, and they stay for years, and they leave. And there's more young people that come in, they stay, and then they leave. It's just he's had the experience, and he probably wants a new experience. So it's all good. I have him go for it. Have him leave. I always say leave because sometimes it just gets too much to be in one place. I'm for moving. I wish I was younger, and I would probably move too. I don't know where, but I'm at the age where I don't want to move because it's just too hard. But when you're young, move and move again and move some more and experience all of that. I think it's good.
Yeah, last year I finally moved from the Bay Area to Redding, and I got at least another year here until my mom retires, and then we're going to try to move to Los Angeles. And it's culturally different here than it is in the Bay Area. It's a lot more conservative and everything, but the heat is nice. I lived in Arizona briefly back in 2007. I couldn't take it. I had to get out of there within 3 months, because it was so hot.
Oh yeah, very hot.
But yeah, it's nice. It's nice here. with the heat. The only thing I don't like is in the wintertime, there's lots of thunder here, and thunder scares me.
Oh yeah, I can get that. Well, all I can say is if this time to move when you're motivated to move is when you're younger, and you can actually experience all these different places. And so I'm always encouraging people, thinking, I think I want to move. Let's do it, because it's good to have that life experience, and then it makes you think, well, where do I want to live? What, and it kind of refines it for you. So ultimately, you'll find your place where you'll be more permanent. But I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rutanya. We'll talk again.
Okay, honey.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Rutanya Alda. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Rutanya. I always enjoy talking to you. You're one of the easiest people to talk to in the world. And I love you. God bless you. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.